Okay, welcome to Module 7. At this point I want to return to our soft skills to reiterate the importance of mindset, which should be understood from the very beginning and applied through all elements of your training throughout the entire training career. At about grade 2 level within UC, after the student is introduced to the game plan, the colour codes and the OODA loop, we start to talk about one of the final soft skill training models that we use, which is the vital pyramid. The vital pyramid is a model for self-protection, and it was developed by John Lofty Wiseman for the SAS. And basically it's a model for self-protection for military units, special forces or soldiers, law enforcement, security operatives and civilians. It applies to all of us. And like any good pyramid, the largest foundational platform is its base, and at the base of the vital pyramid is mindset. So mindset basically means having the combative mentality to be able to deal with a combative problem. This is coming from attentive awareness of your environment, a deep understanding of pre-threat cues so you're likely to pick up on something, not walking about paranoid but certainly alert and aware, particularly in society the way it is today, and having the preparedness before any event mentally visualized in your head that you will find what you need on an emotional level to deal with the problem. I mean, mindset is defined as many things: tenacious resolve, the absolute willingness to do whatever it takes to win or prevail. And the objective must be prevail, in terms of if you find yourself in an altercation where there's a potentially high threat to life, then to have the willingness to survive may not be enough. If survival is your goal, your ultimate goal, and you don't survive, you're dead. You have to have somewhere to go with it. So if your ultimate goal is to totally win, to totally dominate, to totally prevail and walk away from this situation, then as the one relatively unscathed or in a better condition than the other person, then you have to have that mindset and mentality to hurt and hate, and that has to be controlled. Many have called it, well, Kelly calls it rage with reason. Rage with reason is really what it is. You want to have the mentality to be able to access that totally antisocial animal that's needed to deal with real violence, deal with the problem and then put it back in the box. It's a matter of state management as well as access. But we'll talk about that as we go on in further modules. But mindset really is the willingness to do whatever it fucking takes to prevail. Because if I do whatever it takes to prevail, I should prevail. And if I don't prevail, well, I should survive. So there's somewhere to go with it. You know, if I don't prevail in this situation, I'll be the best fucking second best you've ever seen. It has to be that mentality, and it has to be mentally rehearsed, and it has to be totally absorbed and believed. Whether the reality is true that you are the biggest predator in this room is true or not, it's irrelevant. If it's true to you and you believe it, then it's operational. So you have to focus and recondition your mental thinking in terms of winning and fucking prevailing. And visualization is a great tool for that, as we'll talk about later on in modules. But once you've got mindset in place and the willingness to actually do something should it need to be done, the next thing that would be useful would be some tactical plan of action for your use of force, in which case tactics come into play. So the tactic that we developed in UC called the game plan is basically based around avoidance, escape, de-escalation, made possible because we have a radar on in the first place, so you're aware and you're alert. If that's not possible to be able to avoid and escape, then I'm looking to be proactive. I want to take preemptive action, as we've talked about in earlier modules. If I take preemptive action, the other guy's responding to me, which is much better. I can deal with the situation and get in control. It's the best chance I have of dealing with somebody that's potentially more dangerous, or if there's a threat disparity. So preemption, continuous assault till I can get gone is my tactical plan of action, if you like. In terms of skills are your tools, your toolbox. So what we've looked at so far in the hard skills are your tools, right? It could be a weapon of opportunity, it could be a weapon by design where that's relevant and legal, or other than that, it's the tools that God give you. So what we're looking at in terms of skills is the physical skill sets that we've been employing. I don't like to use the word techniques, but that is what I mean, the actual technical proficiency part. You need to be proficient. Finally is kit. Now, kit is the cherry on the cake. It's the smallest part of the pyramid, therefore the least important, but it's still relevant. In terms of kit for training, you want good kit, good training partners, good safety wear, etc, etc. In terms of kit for somebody who's operational, that could be your firearm, it could be your edge weapon, it could be your communications, it could be any number of things that are relevant. For a civilian, it's only most likely to be what they're wearing. So it could be your civilian attire, your clothing. You might think about your clothing in a tactical way. You might think about how it might protect you from weather elements. You might think about, if you were slashed with this knife, would this jacket offer any protection? Most people aren't, as anal as to live their life like that and map it out like that and plan, but there's a certain amount of reliability in terms of safety if you could improve your chances with kit. So if you've got good weatherproof kit, maybe it's tough, that might help absorb a weapon assault or something else. In terms of communications, have you got phone? Is it charged up? Is there credit on it? Could you make an emergency call if you needed to? Have you got money? Have you got money that you could get out of Dodge? Small nomination coins that you could make a call? Have you got anything that you could possibly improvise as a weapon, as an improvised personal carry weapon, maybe by design, or something that you could just use? These things relate to kit for the civilian, and they are part of the picture. But a lot of people that lose the idea of really what self-protection is all about are, some of the people on the forums that just collect everything, and they're all kit orientated, and they've never had so much as a row with their wife, and if they end up in a situation for real, they're going to freeze up. The first thing that they're going to do is just freeze mentally. They're not going to forget they're even carrying the latest piece of tactical black kit bullshit. But if you have mindset, and you have tactics, and you have a good unarmed skill set, and you supplement that with good kit, now you're the complete person. You're much more complete. For me, as a complete combative operator, or some of my brothers in the US, they have the ability to shoot exceptionally well. They can use edge weapons, they can use any weapon of opportunity. Their unarmed skills are outstanding. They know tactical medicine, and they could drive like their life depended on it. So that is the complete combative student in my mind. But in terms of what would make that person that complete, would certainly be this, and will make anyone, just the average Joe civilian, much more switched on and capable of dealing with self-protection right now, would be the implementation of this design, which again, mindset is the main thing, followed by tactics, then skills, then kit. This is the vital pyramid.